It is. It's a little bit chilly today. It's going to maybe peak at 60 degrees. Almost. Almost a good day to spend my off time shirtless in public. Trust me, I look even better in person. But anyway, taking some oxygen. Hope you guys are doing all right. I have a handful of cool things I got on my mind for the channel coming up. Right now, one of the couple of interviews I had been expecting fell through. Well, I think it fell through. I really haven't heard back, and I'd imagine that maybe they get back to me when they want to reschedule, or they don't care to tell me that they don't want to do it. I don't know. That's fine. Then I got another guy who should be game on for that interview with a little delay. And it's going to be pre-recorded. So that'll be a premiere. That's going to be a premiere that I'm going to do my best with what I got to blast. You know, with my, I don't know, am I 200 yet? Have I hit 200 persons? I don't know. I haven't looked. Last I checked, I doubt it. Probably at like 294 or something. Something silly like that. Oof. You know, they fucking paved these goddamn roads, or they've stripped the road. They stripped this huge portion of the road all at once, which I get it. There's probably a really fucking rational reason why you got to do this much all at once. But now you got like, see, now that I'm driving a goddamn sedan, you know, this wasn't an issue when it had an Escape with its big effing tires and its bigger fucking suspension. All right. And then, yeah, like right here, basically, is where the, no, it's still going. I think they've moved it up since then. They stripped it and they smoothed it. They just haven't paved it over yet. Or have they? I see the lines. Or did they not just... I don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, this stream is not about local municipal government's competence. It is not about that. Although I will say that it is irritating me today. More people are you know, the thing that's really getting me is, you know, it's interesting how people are as time has continued to get behind us since we shut down society. And then society told itself to go fuck itself. And then, when we said we won't, or for those who said we won't, they tried to make us non-inclusive to society. And then they realized that there were too many of us involved in all those things. And so they had to reopen it. But by then, all the damage was done. And so everywhere you go that was like that, which was part of major facets of the media, which thus was a major facet of the human psyche, those things are gone. And there's they've not been really replaced with anything in the zeitgeist. There's just new TV shows and things like that. But what we don't have anymore is these huge swaths of people getting together, like, and being the center of attention just for all being part of these cool crowds, right? Because there isn't a media apparatus like the media apparatus that works today. It can't function publicly the way it used to. They can't go and do a thing, right? Like, if any of these people on like news television are out trying to do something out in the street amongst the people, there's too high a population of visceral critics. Hey, Jenny, here now, Rad. If people like book readings like I do, that's some of the bulk load of Here Now Rad's content. And she likes to read a lot of very, very rich and thoughtful material. I haven't commented on everything that I've caught from you, Jen, but I've been tuning in, at least to the readings and a couple of the drive sessions, right? I mean, I got to do that. You're doing it for me. Thank you. So that is the thing, is that none of it got replaced, right? Like even after, we can talk about life changing after 9/11, but the tone after 9/11 was to not change per se, to change but to not change. Because like we had 9/11, and then like George Bush, after he fucking has his big speech on top of the rubble, he then has another speech about the economy like within the same week or something, and he says, like, get back to shopping, folks, everything's fine, right? We're this war is on, but you're cool, right? And so we were asked to act like it was still the 90s, while we were now living in the world of the war on terror, right? And that's kind of like what it was like if you were living under the narrative of the pandemic, and then 2021 comes along and it says, yeah, there's still a pandemic, but now that we can risk your life with our drugs, listen, just get back at it. And we've been trying to have this just get back at it attitude this whole time, but the difference is that the mask of society and our leaders all got ripped off, and the people that are there now are there because they can't blame them. They can't blame them. I can, because I had awareness at the time. I called it at the time, and I warned them at the time. Therefore, I don't have the same psychic relationship to the people that are still in power, that although they have dropped it with all that shit, they've moved on to other nonsense that is not on the same issue level for the people that they have, because they had to work very hard to use the distraction, because like they knew they were going to lose certain arguments that they were making all these bad distractions for in the first place throughout the political process of the last 4 years. They didn't realize that there was a breakdown, because we had broken conditioning, not just for ourselves. We were breaking the conditioning for a whole lot of people, because we knew the right thing to say about the right situations at the right times, getting certain truths out and revealing certain lies, so on and so forth. And the one thing that makes us stick versus a lot of people that maybe were involved but then just kind of like got back into society once they got their personal victory of the time for whatever their little issue was, whether it was a stance on the war, a stance on the medicine, a stance on the economy, or whatever. We were the ones that had a more radical interest in change. We were the ones that are just like, no, I'm going to put myself in a different world in this realm. I'm leaving all these things that I've known behind. I'm leaving who I knew myself to be behind. And there's so many people doing that like, they don't know what to do. It's just like, they're working very hard to make a program that entices me. Nope. And I think they've given up on trying to entice me. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what little slice of demographic I kind of fit into, because theoretically a pagan thing could fool me. Theoretically, a conscientious metal thing could fool me. And obviously a controlled opposition could fool me. Why? Because those are all things being planted in places that I do hold as part of myself, my natural self, my true and authentic self. What is going on here? There you go. Okay. This Stadia had been coming up hot for a hot minute, and I was just like, are people going to get out of his way? Because, there's always going to be these types that have very defeatist, almost Gnostic thinking about the whole thing, of the no escape of the trouble, right? And that to even be in a good mood when speaking of these things is almost like foolish sacrilege to certain people that, they think it's just the wrong attitude to have about the horrifying reality that not just you could tell was coming at the time in obvious ways and was pseudo-introduced already, and the logic was all there for it. But then to see it actually implemented and realize that they could just get everybody along with it, right? And they killed a certain spirit of America that was, it used to be a good spirit. That spirit itself had lost its mind. It's unfortunate because I knew it had lost its mind. I didn't think it was going to basically be necessary to even slaughter it. I didn't think I thought they wanted to have this crazy thing forever, right? And then, they could have, maybe, but I suppose they couldn't. They knew they couldn't. So they grabbed the Orange Man and said, hey, Orange Man, could you pretend to be their savior from us? We need you to be their savior from us. Can you play that and then fail? Thanks. And that's what he's doing right now. That's what the Zionist in chief is doing. I mean, come on, please. I'm done. It's just like, as far as I'm concerned, there was a different White House, by 2019, if you will. There was just a different White House. The only way that is even feasible to me, considering what I thought was the social political progress, is betrayal. And many of us, either now see that betrayal, or we never really was all that into it. They just thought it was like interesting, it's just like, hey, look, at the end of the day, like, that effect was waking a whole lot of people up. It's like they didn't have any good options, so they said, you know what, it's all going to get exposed anyway. Our best option is to wait just long enough before we're screwed and then shut everything down, before anybody has taken their awareness and applied it to will, and then shut down your ability to have willpower. right? That was the attempt that they were going for. This is demonstrated beautifully in Kingdom, the new one from the In Shadow guy, Alex Roloff or something like that. Yeah, you go watch the Kingdom animated short. It's fucking beautiful. And that shows you. It shows you kind of like that whole breakdown of all of the allegorical slave chains that they got humanity to put on themselves, and a great deal of the explanations for it through the spiritual, almost satirical allegory of the animation style and storytelling approach. It's good stuff. It's some of the best stuff I've seen in a long fucking time in our movement. You know, I mean, like, how are you supposed to save a world if you can't even get somebody to do something as simple as breathe chronically? You're already breathing. You don't want to breathe chronically for 5 fucking seconds because maybe it'll do something good for this? No, you hate yourself that fucking much, right? And you know, when you go through those revelations, I think like I think one of the earliest oppositions that they throw at you when you're like a young man, really susceptible to the things, is, you know, Satanism. Like conventional fucking, you know, Aquino and Anton LaVey type of Satanism. Not Crowley. Crowley, like, these guys loved Crowley, and Crowley was almost completely moral relativistic, but he wasn't precisely a Satanist. But it all jived and worked, especially because of the scandalmancy and the sex magic and all that. It was all great stuff for these proper Satanists to take and lends credence as the Satanists, you know, either by design or by theft, ran with a great deal of Crowley's style to you know, developing their own. I mean, somebody had to be, I guess, a pioneer of it, right? I mean, you can't imagine in the 1940s, you know, Anton LaVey coming out of the woodworks dressed up as the devil on it wouldn't have been television back then, but he could have been on a silver screen presentation, like a newsreel or something like that. You'd get fucking lynched. But Aleister Crowley could do it because he was bridging a certain gap that was in the same pocket. A certain kind of person who is disenfranchised with certain aspects of the world is going to go and explore that kind of thing, right? So they get you to see humanity that way. Oh, you can't even do pranic breathing, right? Like, or whatever it is, where you just look at them and say, these people are so stupid. Even if you're still stupid, because a lot of the Satanists are, you know, they've got some occult knowledge, maybe a little bit of gnosis, but they're mostly, you know, doing a particular kind of self-service agenda that doesn't need to get into all the depths. The only depths that they're going to get into are depths that are not going to harm their reputation, right? They're not going to, like, if a Satanist is never going to do something like, say, believe the Bach Saga, right? They're, you know, Satanist is never going to believe the Bach Saga because until it becomes approvable for it, because then the Bach Saga is not serving them in any particular way, unless their personal interest is not in any particular circle as such. But then again, if his little satanic coven is like that, and he wants to have his satanic friends, so he has, you know, people to fucking talk to, and nobody there is going to fucking say, yeah, the Bach Saga, let's talk about this, you know, with legitimacy. It's just like he's going to scoff it off like the rest of them, and thus making him kind of also the dead, right? That the Satanist calls these unconscious masses the dead. The Satanist probably we should, like, you know, when I learned about that, it's just like, I don't think I'm the dead, and I'm going to figure out if I still qualify as the dead, because fuck that, I'm not the dead to them, fuck them, right? And so when I learned that shit from, like, Mark Passio, I was just like, I'm gonna keep diving into real gnosis, not just from Mark, but I just kept going. It's just like, fuck these people, I'm not the fucking dead, fuck you, right? That's the idea, right? These people, they are proud of being the dead because the world is serving them, and that's why the Satanists love them. The world serves them in the sympathetic magic, and that's mostly because the Satanists have attached to the laziest of sympathetic magic, which is just to exploit the collective unconscious. And that's all you're fucking seeing. And that's how the Satanists win. It's, you know, they're letting humanity do it. This is just like, they fucking warn you all the time in all sorts of cinema and shit. You know, Game of Shadows, the Sherlock Holmes sequel, the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes series, which I wish could have gotten a third film, but after Sherlock thwarts the plot, he also then realizes that also nobody was terribly concerned about the truth of the plot that was thwarted, and Moriarty just looks at Holmes while I think they were playing chess just before the big finale, and he just looks him in the eye kind of with a smile of some sort, and he was just like, look, I didn't instigate these people to war, I just gave them a push. I just want to be selling the bullets and the bandages when it all goes down. That was Moriarty. Moriarty was just like, I want a world war. I am going to make a fucking fortune off of these fools. That is how a Satanist thinks. The exploitation of the unconscious. The exploitation of the dead. And so I hope that I am a force that counters that. Because believe me, like, I don't need satanic metal. I need metal. I don't need satanic metal. It's just like that. Anyway. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. Yikes. Alright. I don't know why you were trying to pass me on the left. You don't pass somebody on the left like that. Alright. Okay, good. Alright, guys. I gotta get into work. That turned into a better rant than I thought it would. That's why I'm always glad, even if I don't know what the hell I want to say off the bat, that I just go live. Seems to work. Thank you guys for popping on. I think I saw 7 tops today. That's fucking great. I'll let you know as soon as I can get another Heidegger stream going. I'll catch you guys later.